Is football getting soft? The shocking truth revealed. As a football fanatic, I can tell you one thing for sure. There's nothing quite like the thrill of watching the beautiful game. But have you noticed something strange lately? It's like watching a movie sequel that just doesn't live up to the hype. If you're a die-hard football fan like me, you'll know the game is getting softer by the minute. Where are the Ronaldinhos, the Zidines and the Messis of the world? We need more hard tackles, more outrageous dribbles, and more passion for the game. Join me on this epic journey as we explore the question that's on every football fan's mind. Is football getting soft? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe because we're about to have a ball. Back in the day, watching football was like being in heaven. The skills of the players were mesmerising. Defenders were like bulldozers, and the love for the game was evident. But nowadays, it seems like football has lost its flair. It's all about goals, numbers and statistics. Young players care more about racking up points than making the game beautiful. This has resulted in a horde of selfish and unskilled players who care more about themselves than their team. Sure, there are still some players who are in it for the love of the sport and the fans. Unfortunately, they're as rare as a two-headed unicorn. The appreciation for skillful players is dwindling as people only seem to care about the stats. Football used to be loved worldwide for its entertainment value, but with the current state of the game, it's more like watching paint dry. We could harp on about what's wrong with football these days, but let's focus on the fact that it's gone as soft as a pillow. In the days when football wizards like JJ Okocha, Zidane, Beckham and Ronaldinho reigned supreme, fans were used to seeing lots of dribbles. The amazing moves of these players were indeed mesmerising. However, that was not all. Since the attacking players were so good, the defenders learned to stand their ground and keep the ball away from their goalpost like their lives actually depended on it. So, it was not out of place to see a defender put his body between a goal-bound shot and his goalie. These things were quite risky. Sometimes they resulted in an own goal or even in the player getting injured. However, they were all part of the game. So long as the team was up, going down as a player did not seem much of a big deal. Let's go defensive a bit. Well, it looks like the game has changed. These days, defenders are more interested in scoring goals than keeping the ball out of their own net. It's like they forgot they have a job to do. I mean, what's next? Goalkeepers taking corners? Defenders like Alexander-Arnold and Marcelo are more famous for their attacking prowess than their defensive skills. It's like they're playing a completely different game. Back in my day, defenders were like brick walls. Nothing could get past them. Nowadays, they're more like speed bumps. But let's not blame the defenders entirely. The rules of the games have changed too. A tackle that was legal a few years ago might get you sent off now. It's like playing football with a minefield. You never know what's going to blow up in your face. So maybe we should cut the defenders some slack, or maybe they should just start practicing their shooting instead. In the past, if a player was able to clear the ball properly and had some contact with another player in the process, he could survive the referee's wrath. However, in modern day football, a player can be booked for merely having contact with another player, even if it is clear that he went for the ball and got it out of harm's way. Getting sent off for an offence is not good for a player's psyche. Also, it could affect one's team, and no player wants to be responsible for bringing their team down. So, professional footballers all over the world have learnt to adjust the way they play to the many new rules that they are not even sure they understand. Beyond lunging in for tackles, defenders sometimes concede penalties simply because the ball makes contact with their hand. Back in the day, touching the ball with your hand in your 18-yard box would lead to a penalty kick if this was done intentionally. In a situation in which the ball makes contact with a player's hand without them doing so intentionally, no penalty would be given. Amazingly, the story is different today. So long as there is contact between the ball and a defending player's hand in the 18-yard box, there will be a penalty. It might not seem like this is a lot. However, it has made players a little too self-conscious when contesting for a ball in the 18-yard box. This situation is even more difficult when contesting for a header. Football can be a handball minefield. especially when it comes to headers. You need your hands to get the lift, but if the ball accidentally hits them, it's a penalty. And that could mean the difference between a team winning or losing an important competition. But it's not just hands that cause problems. Trying to win a 50-50 ball can also be a slippery slope. If two players have an equal chance of getting the ball, it's fine to give it your all. But if the opponent takes a tumble, you could end up with a booking. That's why some players have become experts in the art of the dive, even when there's barely any contact. As much as the average attacker knows how to dive quite well, players like Neymar, Mo Salah, etc. have pretty much perfected diving. No offense though. So, as a defender, you might not want to get too close to them during a match, as much as this significantly reduces your chances of getting booked or making your team concede a free kick or a penalty kick. It increases the chances of your opponent actually getting a cheap goal. The goalies are not left out. The players are not the only ones suffering from football's many new rules. Goalies too have to deal with several rules that they do not totally understand. A couple of years ago, the rule of goalkeepers staying on their line during a penalty kick became a thing. This rule seemed quite straightforward. However, it does not favour the goalkeepers. It increases the player's opportunity of scoring and reduces the keeper's chances of stopping the ball. In the face of a rule that keeps keepers on their line, players can try out several techniques to score a penalty kick, even if their technique seems out of place. One of such techniques is making very light contact with the ball and letting another player do the actual shooting. This seems very bizarre. Nonetheless, it is not frowned at. Still, on penalty kicks, keepers are no longer allowed to get into the minds of players, or vice versa. All in the name of respect, like we saw in the case of Martinez versus Mbappe at the World Cup. One thing several football executives do not think of is increasing the chances of a player scoring a penalty kick reduces the stakes in a match, and this is bad for the sport in general. Outro. Here's the one that seems annoyingly too obvious. Maybe football has really gone soft. Refs are too scared to make decisions. I rely on VAR more than I rely on my morning coffee. And don't even get me started on how it's ruining goal celebrations. I can't even do my happy dance until I know the goal hasn't been ruled out. Sure, protecting players is important, but has football become a feather game? I mean, it's like they're playing with bubble wrap instead of shin pads. Although, I guess it does help with players' careers lasting longer. Maybe it's not all bad. Probably a good thing. Maybe. But what do you think? Drop a comment below and smash the like button. And don't forget to hit the bell. We'll catch you in the next one.